to Granny's place. Take the time and space to give yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above all, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's place and give your spirit a big boost.
Welcome to Granny's Place, a haven for love, entertainment, and uncommon sense. I'm Sweet Baby James, and I'm here to introduce you to tonight's theme, which is an ongoing theme of ours. You ask the questions, and Granny provides the answers. First, a little introduction about Granny. Granny Rocks is another name for Beth Green, an intuitively guided counselor with 38 years of experience. She's been a longtime social activist and is the author of 6 books about human behavior, so I think she knows something about human behavior. She has unusual insights into our issues, personal and social, as well as a special warmth which helps us to look more honestly at ourselves. Plus, whatever the question, Granny uses music and humor to deliver a message that has universal applicability and addresses the heart of the matter. So even if you haven't submitted a question for this show, you may very well discover Granny's comments to other viewers, answer questions you didn't even know you had. Be aware that Granny answers all questions in the order that they are received, so if you'd like to have your question answered as soon as possible, then get your question in as soon as possible. And so now, here's Granny!
Welcome to Granny's Place. We thought it would never happen. We're running late as usual. Now, are we going to get upset about that?
Nah.
Certainly not. Nah. We are models of calm, models of just the way human beings should be.
Did you say calm?
Calm. And you're not going to be speeding when you leave here today, are you? No. I really believe in that better late than never. So here we are, but we're not late for you.
Otherwise, you're going to be the late person.
We're just a little bit late for ourselves, but not for you. So I'm so happy that you're going to be with us today. I hope you enjoyed Granny Raps on the News tonight, and that you're going to join us for Granny's Kitchen after the show.
Yes.
But right now, take it away, James.
Okay.
What have you got for me today?
All right. First question is from Anonymous. Granny, this question is about mother and daughter relationships. I hear women say that they do not want to be like their mothers. What causes us not to want to be like our mothers?
Whoa! Want to be like my mother? Are you serious? Why would I want to be? No, that is a great question because it actually involves a lot of stuff, doesn't it? So I noticed that you said us. Why do we not want to be like our mothers? I love that because that recognizes that you have it too. So you're not saying, well, I'm a mother and I don't understand why my daughter doesn't want to be like me. Well, there are a million reasons that we wouldn't want to be like our mothers. The first thing I would say is that our mothers were not perfect. Oh, far from it.
Far from it.
Far. And we want to be perfect. We want to be adorable, wonderful, handsome, gorgeous, intelligent, talented, loving, go-getters, wealthy, attractive to everybody. I mean, we want all those good things, right? Don't we? Because we think our lives are going to be better if we can be all like that. And we see the flaws in our mothers like, so, I mean, I don't want to be like her because she wasn't all those things. You know, she was grumpy or alcoholic or she was mean or she was tired or she got cancer or whatever it is. So I don't want to be like that. I want to have all these wonderful qualities and that everybody's going to love me and all that stuff. So that's one reason that pops up immediately. But then there are so many others. Let's say our mothers were stressed. Our mothers did not know how to be mothers. Now, who does know how to be a mother. The one thing that I can guarantee you is that no matter what parenting style you try, you're going to mess it up. Because it's not easy to be a parent. We never know what to do. Each child is different. We're neurotic as heck, right? Society is crummy. You know, I mean, we have all kinds of challenges, but we want our children to reflect well on us. So we're trying to control things. We're trying to make our children behave in ways that are going to be socially acceptable, or we want to get them out of our faces because we're too tired and we want to shoot up and we really don't want the responsibility. You know, and there is a million things that are going on for the mother. You know, she's not feeling well. She has a migraine. You know, she's had an argument with dad, or there is no dad, and she's trying to pull it all together, and so she's tense, she's stressed, she's kind of, and then how is she with you? Well, so, I mean, you know, my mother was a very quiet, but she still was, you know, he was like, I have pictures of my mother, God bless her, where she just looks like that, you know, and I remember that's the way she looked. Well, I wouldn't want to be like her, but I also didn't like it. I didn't like her being that way. But it was very difficult for me as a child to have any compassion for my mother because I wanted her to be everything. So I developed resentments, right? Because she wasn't everything. And lots of us, resent our mothers terribly. And so why would we want to be like them? You know, that's like imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. Well, I don't want to be like her because she was such a bitch. So that's a whole other set of reasons. Another set of reasons. Who organized your life when you're a child? Most of us had mothers who did it. Some of us now have fathers who do it. I mean, that's the amazing thing about today's world, right? Sometimes the father is the house person or a partial house person. But for most of us, our experience has been that mother has kind of ruled the roost in the house. And that means she was the one who either punished us or got dad to punish us, or she disciplined us, or she told us what to do all the time. And I don't know about you, but I hate when people tell me what to do. It's like, and very rarely did parents really have the knowledge, the understanding, the time, the patience, the temperament to sit down and explain. The reason that I'm asking you not to run in the street is because there are cars coming from every direction, and they might hit you if you go running in. I mean, they may tell you that quietly before, but when it comes right down to it and you're running in the street, it's like, get out of the street! You know? So there's, we have bad associations with our mothers telling us what to do, or a lot of times our parents aren't able to talk that way to us. They don't even have the vocabulary to down and talk and explain. And then so much of our lives, our parents are doing the social rules. They're trying to make us fit into the society. So like, my mother would say, I've shared this before, it just isn't done, Beth. It just isn't done. It isn't done. So there is no rational explanation for it isn't done. In fact, I would like to have a rational explanation for why women should shave our legs, shave under our arms, pluck our eyebrows, or do any of those other torturous things that we do that many times our mothers taught us to do. Or if our mothers didn't do them, then we thought of them as like, ugh, disgusting, because everybody else did. So we don't want them to be like that either. I mean, we don't want ourselves to be like that either. So I will survive. So if our mothers, you see, were always telling us what to do and we didn't want to be told what to do, either because our mothers were wrong or they weren't really explaining it, or because we just don't like to be told what to do because we're independent, because we want to prove that we're grown up. We don't like to be under that yoke, and we don't want to be told all the time what to do. So we start building up resentments towards the mother. And so then all of a sudden in our eyes, she is the worst. The worst she's terrible. So it really goes back to, in those kind of situations, the resentments that we actually have towards our mothers. It's not even so much, I know I've been going on and on, it's not even so much that we don't like the way the mother is. It's that we resent having her there in that position of having, telling us what to do. And
is there another possibility?
There are more, believe it or not.
I have one.
Take it away.
Well, growing up, one wants to be one's own person,
Yes.
one's own individual personality, not like the mother or the father, but oneself.
That's right.
So even if there was a hunky-dory relationship with mother, you still don't want to be a replica of somebody else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course we are. But hey, we only discover that as we age, and especially when we get into the same situations that, our mothers were in, then we find ourselves acting more like them. Oh, how many of us have discovered that? I even look more like my mother as I age. It's really awful. And there are even more reasons that we don't want to be like our mother. And one of those reasons could be that in some families, the mothers are completely dominated by the man.
Oh, right.
And that's ugly, uncomfortable, kind of depressing, demoralizing. And we don't want to be like that because we see our mothers having been dominated by men. And it just makes us not want to be that way at all because we see the pain of being dominated. It's like you have no freedom, right? Or we see the mother as ruling the roost. We don't like that either because that made us have bad relationships with men because we want to rule the roost too because our mothers did, and so then everybody hates us. And so I don't want to be like my mother because she was so controlling. And then the last thing I'm going to say on this topic, not that I couldn't go on for another hour. As you can see, there's a million things, right? I think this is the last thing I'm going to say about this topic, but I never know, right? I think as we're children, we want our parents to make everything all right. I mean, they look like God, right? Compared to us. And so we want our parents to control the universe. We want to really believe that they have all kinds of powers. Like they really can get us that bicycle and they're just being mean because they're not. Or that they really could send me to Harvard, but they're too cheap, or whatever it is that we think that they should be able to do, or that they should be able to solve our emotional problems, or they should be able to get rid of the bully in the classroom, or they should be able to fix our problems with other kids, and we discover that our mothers cannot fix everything, and neither can our dads.
Or prevent traumas that happen to us.
Oh, that's right. They can't protect us in this world. And we get angry at our parents for not having protected us. And actually nobody could. And then, of course, there's always this element that not all of our mothers were well. Our mothers were brought up by mothers in societies, by fathers. Sometimes they lost their parents. Sometimes they grew up too slow, sometimes too fast. Sometimes our mothers are suffering from addictions that make them, not that available. Or we suddenly find ourselves having to take care of responsibilities that we really shouldn't. And so our mothers suffer from being imperfect humans, and it's hard to forgive that.
Okay. Thank you, Granny. This is from Anonymous. Hi, Granny, I cannot finish projects. I have ideas, and I start something, but never finish. What can I do to complete things?
Another Lollapalooza question. I mean, that question is another 3-hour answer. What can I say? Because there are so many elements that go into that. Well, the first thing is, have you ever considered the possibility that your ADD or ADHD is an attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? Have you had it? Have you always been like that? Because it doesn't sound like are changed. You didn't say, oh, I used to be able to complete projects, but then suddenly I got eaten by a grasshopper in an unexpected location, and I all of a sudden I'm freaked and I can't finish anything anymore. So this may be a long-term thing you're suffering from. So I do not know really the ins and outs of ADD or anything biochemical. You know, very few people do, and I certainly don't. I mean, that's not my area of expertise. But you might consider that, and you might check it out. You know, adults definitely can suffer from ADD, not just from children. So have a little compassion for yourself and go check it out and see if anybody can help you. Now, can people help you if you have it? Well, there is books that people have written, you know, I know that, how they've coped with it, and for some people maybe medication works, but I certainly don't want to recommend anything, but start with asking that question. Have I always been like that? Or was this trauma related? If it was trauma related, then you have a very interesting clue as to why. You know, that's introspection, counseling, something. But let's assume for a moment that you've always had it. So why would you not complete projects? Well, first of all, I'm talking about the psychological level, which I can talk about because I've been alive long enough to be able to notice certain things. And the first thing that I notice in myself is I don't always complete things either, or sometimes I don't even start them. And I notice that you kind of refer to that, even if you start it. So all of us have things that we don't do. And why do you think that is? It's because there's something else we'd rather do. Oh, it could be picking my nose, taking a walk, playing music, watching TV, anything other than the dreaded thing that I don't want to do. So that's one thing. Take a look at the things that you tend to do, and take a look at the things that you tend not to do, and see if there's a pattern there. You know, for instance, do you tend to do things that are mechanically oriented but are very brief? Like, okay, beginning, end, start, middle, completion. I can handle that. It's like, oh, I have a task, and guess what? I feel like $1,000,000 because I have accomplished something, and everybody around me says, oh my God, you did a fantastic job. Oh my God, we really needed that. You know, aren't you a wonderful person? Right? Now, if you had that kind of feedback, wouldn't you kind of like to do that kind of thing? So that's, and if you tend not to do things that you're not really good at, like, your taxes, which cause stress. It's like either because you're not good with numbers or you don't remember anything because you're ADD and you can't remember anything. I don't even know if ADD people don't remember anything. I just don't remember anything, so I don't remember whether or not ADD people remember things or they don't remember things. But anyway, it's like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. Even if I know how to take the steps, I can't think straight. Oh my God, I don't even want to look at this. Oh my God, I'm going to go to the poorhouse. I'm not going to be able to pay my taxes. Oh my God, I won't be able to get my motorcycle because if I pay for my taxes, so postponing things because they're unpleasant or they have unpleasant associations. Like the last time I tried to fix the faucet, I tried, and it still leaked, and it still leaked, and instead of getting the, oh, you're so wonderful, you got, you didn't fix it yet, what's wrong with you? Of course, anybody can fix it. Of course, that person isn't doing it, so how do you know anybody can fix it? Maybe it was unfixable, right? So you begin to get negative associations around certain things, right?
Yeah.
So what we're saying is look beneath the surface and see what kind of things do you tend to do and what kind of things don't you tend to do? And does it have anything to do with what you associate with that on an emotional level? Is this making you feel good or is it making you feel bad? Are you afraid to finish a project because then people will be able to see it? You know, you can start I'm going to finish the basement. And I've done a few things. I've bought a few things, and I've got to do. But, I'm running into problems. I'm not so sure exactly how to proceed. I think I'll just take a nap. Because if I take a nap, nobody will ever know that I really can't finish the basement or that I'm going to botch it up. So completions, oh my God, completions are very scary. Right?
Can be.
Because then the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll have to look at whether or not you did a good job. Maybe you have a tendency to pretend to yourself you can do things you can't do. Oh my God, I've seen this so often with people who procrastinate. It's like they start the project and they overpromise. You know, people with certain mental disorders do this too, and also have trouble completing things. So there's other kinds of, diagnoses, but let's say you have a tendency to overpromise, and then either you're overpromising yourself or you're overpromising somebody else, and you really can't quite do it, and so you don't want to complete that because then you're going to see your limitations. I don't want to see my limitations. You want to see your limitations?
I prefer not to think that I have limitations,
well, there
but
it
I
is.
know they are there.
So there's that too, right?
Gotta see them.
So that's another reason that we wouldn't actually want to do it. And then there's a question that I want to ask you. Are you doing in your life the things that you really are meant to do? Oh, I have procrastinated for 6 months sending in that college application. Do you want to go to college? Do you really want to go to college? Or are you acquiescing to other people who think you should go to college? And so you notice yourself not doing it. So it's either that, what some of the things I've been talking about, just to summarize, is you're not going to do it very well, so you have a bad association, right? You're afraid to complete it and find out that it stank. Or maybe you never wanted to do it to start with, which is kind of where I started, but I want to put this out on a bigger level about your whole life.
And that bad association could come from a past trauma as well.
Yes,
some negative association that arose from a past experience, like
absolutely.
A parent lording it over you, and so you've got to complete that, and then you create a resistance to it.
Or you didn't do a good job there.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? This is art? You call this art?
Right. Yeah, right.
Or
that's discouraging.
It's so true, and then we embed those feelings and associations in ourselves.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, Anonymous, people do not like what they're doing in life, and they start procrastinating because they're on the wrong path. And in a situation like that, you need to be willing to look at your life and say, is this really what I should be doing? But that means you'd have to stop procrastinating thinking about that very question. So, consider all the things that I've said, and maybe a few others that pop into your head. And you can even come to Granny's Kitchen, because in Granny's Kitchen, after the show, we talk about all of these things. We talk about Granny Raps on the news. We talk about all the topics that we're talking about in Granny's Place.
And so she talks about these personal issues that you've just been raising.
Right.
And you could follow up and get it more fine-tuned to your particular situation.
If it was your question, you could join us.
Yeah.
Anybody can join. It's a video conference. If you look at any of our posts, you will see the link to Granny's Kitchen. No, not the link, but the information about how do you get into Granny's Kitchen and join a wonderful community of people where it is totally safe to admit that you're the one who sent in the question, or just to talk about anything that came up on the show and what further support you might need. And speaking of which, going to our posts, send me your questions. I can't answer your question if you don't answer it, right?
Right.
And we are now low on questions.
Yeah.
So
it's a good opportunity for you now.
Great opportunity.
And this is free intuitive counseling, by the way.
That's right.
For a few minutes.
I always answer the questions in the order that I get them.
Yeah.
So hurry up. Click now. Don't procrastinate.
Right. How appropriate. Are we ready for the next question?
We are. But is it ready for me?
We'll find out, won't we?
Yes.
This is from Lizzie. Hi, Granny. I watched you respond on Granny's Kitchen to someone's opinion about eating sugar. How do you stay so neutral? When I encounter situations like that, I quickly go into self-doubt and fear how they will respond to what I might say. Thanks.
Well, again, not an easy question to answer. But I'm noticing that you're not saying, how do I stay calm instead of being reactive? You said, how can you
deal with the fear of their reaction?
The reaction.
And going into self-doubt.
Right. But see, the thing is, when I was talking to the person about sugar, I confronted them. Maybe that's the part that you were scared of. I said, well, sugar is an addiction. So every time you feed an addiction, you have fed that addiction. So the point really is to be honest and truthful. Whether you're afraid to tell people what it is that you really think or feel, or you go into judgment and get really angry at them, either way, you're not being helpful. Helpful. See, I think that we're supposed to be trying to help each other. Do I always want to help people? No, I think sometimes I would rather smash them and just get angry and pissy and be very judgmental. But I know.
But I've never seen you do that.
You haven't?
No.
Ooh, that's something.
Yeah.
Coming out of the voice of a man who knows me intimately for almost 8 years.
That's right.
I try not to. Sometimes I catch myself. Don't confuse my outsides with my insides, by the way. Sometimes I'm going, rah, rah, rah. But I'm saying, is that helpful? Helpful. So, if my goal in life is to be popular, loved, and all that, I'm not going to confront anybody on anything, right?
Right. That's
because they're not going to like it. But if my goal is to be helpful, then I have to be helpful. I have to point out what I see. Like, sugar is a terrible addiction. It's very hard on your body, and don't beat yourself up if you eat sugar, but keep looking for the reason that you're doing it, right? And, do yourself a favor before you get diabetes and lose your foot. And then if the person loses their foot and you say, but I didn't say anything because I wanted them to love me. See? Because, so it all becomes about us, So it's like, I want them to love me, so I don't want to confront them. Or I want to get off on being angry at them because I want to vent my spleen because I'm pretty pissy today about everything.
Right. And since I don't eat sugar anymore,
that's right.
I don't want anybody else to eat sugar either.
Right. That is absolutely. And of course, the fact is that there's a million things that I shouldn't do that I do and that I'm trying to work on, right? And I need people to help and to support me. Telling people what they want to hear is only helpful if it's true.
Right.
But if it's not true, then you're not being helpful. Now, I'm going to tell you something. When I first had my spiritual awakening back in 1978, that was before I had my psychic awakening. Being psychic means like I'm an intuitively guided counselor. It's like when you're here, I actually ask you questions and I get to, here on Granny's Place, I said, well, it could be this, it could be this. Well, when we're together, it's not, it could be this. It's like, oh, I see this. But when I first had the spiritual awakening, and it has nothing to do with God or anything, it's really about a state of mind, being a state of connection, and overcoming some of the domination of our egos more and more every day, we hope. I saw a prayer. It's called the St. Francis prayer. It is, God, make me an instrument of thy peace. Mm-hmm. And I had been an atheist before that, and it really doesn't make any difference to me, if you have a religion or you believe in God or anything like that, it's really just about an attitude towards everything and your of connection. And I fervently said that, God, make me an instrument of thy peace. And I have to be reminded of that every day. You know, it's not just peace. It's about understanding. It's about trying to be helpful. To put it very simply, helpful, helpful. What can I do here? What can I say here that's going to be helpful? Isn't just going to express my spleen, my anger, my disgust, my superiority, my fear, my I want you to like me. It's not about that. It's about really caring and trying to understand so that I can be helpful. And that is still my prayer every day, even though I don't pray. You know, I mean, that is my intention every day, is in every situation to ask myself, how can I be helpful? Doesn't mean that I will succeed, but it's what I always try to do. And that's what I always try to do on Granny's Place. So I hope that you join us again next week, and that you send me in your questions so that I can be helpful and fulfill my own deepest wish, which is to help. And that you come to Granny's Kitchen 15 minutes after the live show on Wednesday nights. If not, everything is on YouTube. You can watch all the
You want to announce
archives.
Granny Raps on the News as well?
Granny Raps on the News is at 6:15 Pacific. Granny's Place 6:30. And then Granny's Kitchen, it's Granny's Night, 7:15 Pacific time. And we're having a retreat here in Oregon.
This coming weekend?
This coming weekend. And you can read all about it and all about our other wonderful things. You can do it online. And I am also going to be playing a live concert on Sunday via live stream on this very Facebook page. Well, if you're watching Granny Rocks On's Facebook page.
That's right.
That is the Facebook page.
At 5 o'clock on Sunday.
5 to 6:30. I'm going to be playing the piano, not like background music. I'm actually going to play the piano, improvisational piano playing, which is what I do. When I sit down to the piano, I say, okay, God, whatever, let's find out what I'm supposed to play today. And sometimes I fall on my face, but then you can fall on my face with me.
You call it without a net.
Without a net,
right?
Without a net. And we have a flyer about that on the Facebook page too.
I just want to say I find it very inspiring.
Thank you, the music. I play for James every night. So it's like Scheherazade, right?
Yes, true.
So you are invited to all the above. And I really do love you. And I hope that you keep joining us. Till next time.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.